of boxing news today. I'm going to start off with news with respect to boxing in the Olympics and whether or not we will see that sport continue to be recognized by the IOC. They recently made a statement with respect to who shall govern boxing as a sport at the Olympics if it is in fact indeed to be recognized as such by them in time for the 2028 games in LA. So this is the interesting stuff that's come about in the wake of the IOC rejecting the IBA's appeal against banning them from running qualifying events. Obviously, we've said it before, the IOC have concerns about their governance, finance, ethics, and the IOC said that a recognizable and reliable international federation is needed to run Olympic boxing after Paris, and world boxing appeared to be the only possible option. Therefore, world boxing has urged boxing federations around the world to join them now to save Olympic boxing after the International Olympic Committee's latest statement. Doesn't stop there. So, quite frankly, right now, World Boxing, at a recent press conference, said they have between 25 and 30 countries looking to join their current membership of 28. Not a big number from around the world, I must admit, although the largest organizations are certainly a part of that 28. And they've already staged 3 World Boxing Cup events in Cologne, Germany, Sheffield, England, and Colorado States. And they've announced several more, including the inaugural Under-19 World Championship to be held in November. However, the IOC has just said the IOC is not in a position to organize another Olympic boxing tournament. To keep boxing on the Olympic program, the IOC needs a recognized and reliable federation as a partner. As with all other Olympic sports, the establishment of a new federation, which respects the IOC conditions for recognition, is now in the hands of national boxing federations and their national Olympic committees. Every national boxing federation and NOC that wants its boxers to make the Olympic dreams a reality and win medals at LA 2028 will now have to take the necessary decisions. The NOCs and national boxing federations thus hold the future of Olympic boxing in their own hands, and the required actions cannot be clearer. Boxing is not currently on the sports program for the Olympic Games LA 28. In order to remedy this, the IOC needs to have a partner, International Federation for Boxing, by early 2025, just a few months away. World Boxing issued a statement in reply saying the IOC has sent a clear and unambiguous message to all national federations and national Olympic committees that if they want their boxers to have the opportunity to compete at the Olympic Games after Paris 2024, they need to take immediate steps to join world boxing. This is the only path that will see boxing remain in the Olympic Games after Paris 2024, and all national federations must act now if they want boxing to have any chance of boxing still being part of the program at Los Angeles in 2028. So, I always thought as a kid growing up that in order to compete in the Olympics, you basically had to be an amateur. That's what separated you from the professionals. But here's the IBA, and they said this week that they will reward Olympic medalists with financial rewards. They said, this is Umar Kremlov, IBA president, said $100,000 or 79,000 pounds will be given to gold medalists, $50,000 or 39,000 pounds to silver medalists, and bronze medalists will receive $25,000 or 19,000 pounds. And he also said there will be rewards for boxers who lose in the quarterfinals. That, my friends, is a huge incentive, but certainly, in my opinion, goes against the ideals of what the Olympic Games are all about. I leave it up to you to make your decision, and your comment going forward is appreciated. Let me know what you think. Let's move along to a quick story about a couple of young female fighters going at it toe-to-toe. Mexico's Yamileth Mercado will defend her WBC Super Bantamweight title against Ramla Ali on Saturday, June 29th at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. That's the same card where Juan Francisco Estrada will defend his WBC Super Flyweight title against former world champion Jesse Rodriguez. The card is being organized by Matchroom Boxing. That would be Eddie Hearn's company, and will be broadcast on DAZN, of course, their partner. Mercado, 23-3, 5 knockouts, is defending her title for the 7th time after winning the belt back in 2019, and will fight in the U.S. for the 2nd time in Phoenix, having faced already Amanda Serrano in Cleveland in 2021. She comes to this fight after defending her title last April, defeating Linda Laura Leca by decision. Ali is 9-1, 2 knockouts, but enters her first world title fight brimming with confidence after exacting sweet revenge over Elisa Guzman in her most recent fight in Monte Carlo in November. Ali was defeated by Guzman last June in New Orleans, but Ali, who became the first fighter to represent Somalia at the 2020 Olympics, outclassed her foe in the rematch and is delighted to have the opportunity to win the coveted green and gold belt. So good to see women in the headlines as opposed to these kinds of headlines. This headline screams, Usyk set for Fury heavyweight boxing rematch in December. Do we care? I don't. I really don't. I think I've had it with these two. But I'll continue telling you about them. So here we go. Undisputed heavyweight world champion Oleksandr Usyk and British heavyweight Tyson Fury will meet on December 21st in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. As I said before, money talks, bullshit walks, in a rematch of their bout that took place earlier this month. Usyk is now the WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF champion, and he defeated Fury by split decision in the Riyadh recently, blah, 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 to become the first undisputed heavyweight champ since the end of Lennox Lewis's reign in April 2000. Following the fight, Usyk said he would grant Fury an immediate rematch according to the clause in the fight contract. The rematch between the undisputed champion, Oleksandr Usyk, and the champion, Tyson Fury, is now scheduled on the 21st of December 2024 during Riyadh season. And that was according to Turki Al-Sheikh, who posted that comment on X, formerly Twitter. The world will watch another historical fight again. Our commitment to boxing fans continues. We hope you enjoy it. Gotta say, Turkey is quite a fan and is quite passionate about the sport. I do enjoy that. He is putting his money where his mouth is for sure. But there is that element of sport washing that we have discussed on previous episodes. So nonetheless, both Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren have made comments with respect to the decision to have this rematch and have it again in Saudi Arabia. Frank Warren said he was pretty confident that Tyson Fury could turn things around. And he said, I think he can. He believes he can. It was a fight of two halves. Tyson knows what he has to do, and I'm sure Usyk does. Both these guys were in an absolute war. It's taken a lot out of both of them. It'll be interesting to see what does happen and who is impacted the most. I'll get to Eddie Hearn's comments in a second. Let me just say this. We have an upcoming fight featuring Adrian Broner, and I thought he had a funny comment. Okay, he's going to be fighting on Don King's Fists of Fury event. It's going to take place at the Hard Rock Casino. It's the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino down in Hollywood, Florida, on June 7th. Adrian Broner, okay, 35, 4-1, 24 knockouts, said, he's fighting Blair Cobbs. Okay, he goes, this is what Broner said. The way this boxing stuff goes, you never know what's going to happen. They're just giving out world titles. They're going to give one of these YouTubers a title. I tip my hat to Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. They're doing their thing. Like I said before, my main focus is to become a world champion. All my life, I just wanted to be a world champion, and every time I won one, I cried tears. I'm pretty sure I'll do the same thing when I win one again. What the heck is he talking about anyway? All right. Just so you know, here are the latest betting odds for the history-making 5v5 tournament taking place between rivals Queensbury Matchroom Promotions. It's a $70 pay-per-view event if you're going to watch it in the U.S., taking place coming up in a couple of days in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, featuring heavyweight Zhilei Zhang. He's the favorite against former heavyweight champ Deontay Wilder, right? Just so you know, underdog Deontay Wilder. And if he gets beat, he is done. IBF number one heavyweight contender Filip Hrgovic is a favorite against the former WBA regular champ Daniel Dubois. The WBA featherweight champ Ray Ford is a favorite over Nick Ball. Middleweight Hamza Shariz is a favorite over Austin Ammo Williams. And former light heavyweight challenger Craig Spider Richards is a favorite over Willie Hutchinson in their fight. And as you might expect, the main event, air quotes, WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol is one heck of a favorite over late substitution Malik Zinad, who he expects to beat quite handily, and we all expect him to beat poor old Zinad quite handily. If he wins and you bet on him, you'll make an awful lot of money, though. All right, let's go back to Eddie Hearn, okay? Eddie Hearn. All right, so basically, in a nutshell, we'll start off with a very simple story, very simple comment. Promoter Eddie Hearn says heavyweight Daniel Dubois will need to start fast to get Filip Hrgovic's respect in the first 3 or 4 pounds. That should read rounds. He could get knocked out in their 12-round fight this Saturday night at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh. He said Hearn is predicting that his fighter Hrgovic, undefeated, 17-0, 14 knockouts, will knock out Dubois, 20-2, but he thinks there's a chance Daniel can win if he starts quickly the way Zhilei Zhang did when he dropped Filip. Zhang arguably beat Hrgovic, but the judges in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, made an unpopular decision to Hearn's fighter. That fight showed that Hrgovic is vulnerable and not the guy that some had thought, said Eddie Hearn. Everyone has been talking about Hrgovic for a long time. There's a difference between in the gym and in the ring. He's always looked good in the ring. I think he's a well-schooled fighter. This is the best time for Daniel Dubois to fight because he's got the momentum coming off the Jarrell Miller fight. He definitely ticked some of the boxes of people who question his heart, but Hrgovic is a different kind of animal from Jarrell Miller. We don't know yet if Hrgovic is a different fighter than Big Baby Miller because he's only fought one decent fighter, Zhang, and he arguably lost to him. That was a defeat for Hrgovic in the eyes of many fans, and Hrgovic looked poor in his fight against Dempsey McKean. He was hurt against McKean. He may not be as heavy, but he's an outstanding fighter, and he has excellent fundamentals. He punches very hard, but I do think he stops Daniel Dubois. Daniel can punch, and he's a great fighter as well, said Hearn. You never really seen Hrgovic with a young, explosive heavyweight, and if Daniel takes his fight by the horns, if he tries to box Filip Hrgovic and he gets that 1-2 down the middle, it could go early. If he actually takes the fight to Filip, who knows how it's going to go, how he's going to respond. Anyway, Hrgovic should box because he doesn't want to have the chin to slug with Dubois. Wow. And he's not built to go to war with this type of puncher. Dubois is going to start fast in his fight because he knows he can't afford the slow start. There's too much on the line. Concluded Hearn. Hrgovic starts fast. He's a very sharp puncher early in the fight. You see him against Dempsey McKean and Zhang. Sometimes he can get a bit sloppy and the power goes a little bit. But in those first 3 or 4 rounds, if Dubois doesn't get his respect, it could be an early night. All right. Let's continue with Eddie Hearn, shall we? Eddie Hearn claims it's not fair that the IBF allowed Oleksandr Usyk to retain his heavyweight title for the rematch with Tyson Fury. As he insists, you can't ignore mandatory challenger Filip Hrgovic. Well, apparently, yes, you can. So let's have a quick read of this little article. Eddie Hearn has questioned the IBF's decision to allow Oleksandr Usyk to retain his heavyweight title for an immediate rematch with Tyson Fury. The Ukrainian defeated Fury this month in a split decision victory to become the first fighter since Lennox Lewis defeated Evander Holyfield in 1999 to unify the belts. However, Usyk was in danger of being stripped of his IBF championship due to the fact he was meant to make a mandatory title defense against Croatia's Filip Hrgovic. However, IBF President Daniel Peoples confirmed that Usyk requested an exception to keep his IBF heavyweight world title fight for a Fury rematch, rather than being stripped for not facing his IBF mandatory challenger. And after Turki Al-Sheikh confirmed that the rematch had been set for December 21st, Matchroom boxing chief Eddie Hearn insisted it's not fair on Hrgovic. Hearn said, "My understanding is there's already been an exception with IBF allowing Usyk to keep his belt for the rematch with Fury. I get both sides of the argument. You really don't want the belts to be fragmented, but you've got a guy, Filip Hrgovic, who has been ordered ages ago and has been waiting and waiting and waiting. So it was my understanding that the Fury-Usyk fight took place on the condition that the winner had to fight Hrgovic with no exceptions. I don't think that's going to happen next week by June 1st for Hrgovic Dubois for that to be on the line. But maybe the winner of that has AJ next in line for the IBF. We have to wait and see. But you can't ignore your mandatory challenger for 2 or 3 years. I get the whole idea of, yeah, it's great to have an undisputed champion, but what if the shoe's on the other foot? And you're this guy, Hrgovic, that's been mandatory. And now he goes out and beats Dubois. He's told, you can't get your title shot until the summer of 2025. It's not fair, said Hearn. I get both sides of the argument, but I do expect the IBF belt to become vacant, but it's very unlikely for next Saturday. Eddie Hearn making headlines again. But it doesn't stop there. My fans, let me tell you, there's a chap over in England, I guess he's got a talk show as well, called Simon Jordan. And he responded to Eddie Hearn's comments about Turki Al-Sheikh. The Saudi boxing chief called into the show to offer to fly the pundits. Apparently, Simon Jordan has a cohort out to Saudi Arabia for this weekend's Queensbury versus Matchroom card. Apparently, this guy Jordan was barred from attending Tyson Fury's recent fights in the kingdom after the Gypsy King took exception to comments he had made following the collapse of his undisputed clash with Oleksandr Usyk in early 2023. But Al-Sheikh made it clear that Jordan and his co-host White and Talk Sport are welcome in Saudi Arabia anytime. There was a bit of back and forth over the criticisms Jordan had leveled at Saudi boxing, although for the most part it was very amicable. However, Eddie Hearn, who has never seen eye to eye with Jordan, insists his rival melted when Al-Sheikh came onto the program. Now, I like it because when he puts it on your toes, everyone gives it the, oh, His Excellency, Hearn told IFL TV. And then he comes on Talk Sport, who's been slagging off the whole new vision for boxing for so long. And they're like, oh, hello, Your Excellency. We'd love to come out and support your show. It is what it is. It was brilliant. Turkey stuck it on the toes of Simon Jordan and Jim White, and obviously they melted. And they'll be out joining the party on Saturday night. However, responding to Hearn's comments, Jordan pointed out some glaring holes in Hearn's analysis. He said, excellent analysis. The only thing wrong with that is A, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia. B, I'm referring to him as Turkey. C, he volunteered. He doesn't like being called His Excellency, other than that first-rate appraisal from the snake oil. Jordan then expanded on his comments during another edition of his show. He said, well, like most things with Eddie Hearn, there's the truth and there's the Eddie Hearn's version of things. Listen, the guy, Al-Sheikh, phoned in. He wanted to talk to us. We gave him an audience. And I thought, well, and with passion. I think it's interesting because I'm the one that's been running around saying I won't be calling him His Excellency because I don't feel I need to be that sycophantic. And he's interestingly addressed that issue without prompting. So I get it, and I understand what they're trying to do. Boxing has been around a lot longer than the Saudi intervention. So my main focus is if you want a place where boxing happens, then you are not immune to criticism. Last time round, you banned people like me, and that's not the way to go about it. Jordan won't be able to make the card as he's on his way to America anyway, but White will be attending the event with Al Sheikh, who has agreed to do a sit-down interview with him once he lands in the Middle East. Before White and Jordan went off the air, Al Sheikh admitted that he wasn't particularly fond of his name being prefixed with His Excellency. He said, I want to tell you a secret. I don't like this name, but my people in my office say I must be called this, but I prefer Turkey. So I will continue to call him Turkey. Meanwhile, he has confirmed Riyadh season September show at Wembley will take place in London, June 25th. Anthony Joshua is expected to headline the card against the winner of the Daniel Dubois-Philip Hrgovic fight and the soon-to-be vacated IBF heavyweight title. While Nayana Inoue is also reported being lined up for the card as well. So that'll be a doozy. Looking forward to that for sure. And that, my friends, pretty well wraps up this show. Thanks very much for joining me. Appreciate it. It might be called the Eddie Hearn Show, but at the end of the day, take it with all a grain of salt, my friends. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on here on Talkin Fight for more fun and games with all these boxing promoters and what they have to say over and above what the boxers themselves